Hell yeah. You know, we got to stay hydrated because welcome to episode 6 of Andy Asks. And today's guest is nobody. I'm here by myself. It's so weird because usually I have somebody to like riff off of or like talk to, but no, you just get Andy on Andy today. So the reason I wanted to do this is because I just feel like I don't talk to you guys, and you guys, if you do know me, then you know me, but if you don't, then we're just gonna get to know each other a little bit better right here. And if you're a new fan or subscriber, thank you very much. Yeah, that's the reason I wanted to do this, because I feel like I've been wanting to do a podcast for a very long time, but I've just never done it. And it's so funny. Shout out Saul from IE and Friends and Caesar and Aaron. They were like, well, because I've talked to them about it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to start a podcast soon, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, why don't you do it? I was like, well, I don't have the camera. I don't have things right now. And then they're like, you're just making excuses, man. You're just making excuses. You're just making excuses. And I was like, damn, you're right. I am just making excuses. Like, my number one love, of course, will always be acting and skits. But I do love podcasts because I listen to them all the time. Like, literally, I drive to work. I have a 45-minute commute to work. And I listen to podcasts. That's what I do. When I come back, it's another 45 minutes, and then I finish it. So, you know what? I was like, I love talking to people. I love getting to know who they are, like what happened to them, who they are, and why they are. You know, so I was like, a podcast is a perfect thing for that to do. And like, the reason why I started this podcast is for that specific reason. And I thought it was crazy, and I'm gonna make you guys feel really small right now. But for me, I always think about, I'm like, there are 8 billion other lives on this planet. And in our lives, we're not even going to be talking to 20,000, maybe 20,000 people in this world. And I was just like, that is insane. So I think this is just my way to show off those 0.001% of people that I talk to and that I find interesting. So that's why I started this podcast, Andy Asks, because I'm so curious. So I'm asking you questions, you know? So I thought that was one of the biggest reasons I started this podcast. And I'm just interested, man. I'm interested in talking to people. I love talking to people. I just talk to random people at parties. I talk to random people at work just to see why they are, you know? So I just thought that was really interesting to know that there's 8 billion other lives. Like, it's kind of dumb. I just always see myself driving, and then I look out at other people. I'm like, this person next to me is living a complete other life, and they're completely just going through their own problems. Something else is happening in their life that I have no idea about, but I'm over here like just rocking out to like fucking Dua Lipa in my car by myself, singing at the top of my lungs while this person's going through whatever they're going through. Or maybe they're just having a great fucking time by themselves, you know, which it's just insane to me. So this is why I'm doing this podcast, to just talk to more people, to fucking get to know more people, get to know my friends. Because I feel like we all do that, not talking to our friends and getting to know like what's going on with them, what happened to them. So I think that's really interesting. So that's one of the biggest reasons I'm starting this podcast. And I'm pretty excited. I've been really happy with my 5 guests. Like I said, this is episode 6. So I've been really happy with my 5 guests. They're really fun. They're all different, if you've noticed. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep the guests as different as possible. Sometimes maybe they're like the same kind of guests, but it's just people that I want to talk to. And that's the thing about having your own podcast, is you can have whoever you want on your podcast, which is cool. And, you know, I think right now I'm just trying to build up more people, talk to more people and try to get out to LA, because I got a good amount of friends out there in LA that I would love to get on the podcast, and I'm going to get on the podcast. So just be on the lookout for that, because I have a feeling like I'm going to get them on soon. I'm going to travel out there. I'm really excited to see what we could do with this podcast. Like I said, I love doing skits, and I'm still not going to stop. I'm still going to keep doing that. I'm still going to do skits for YouTube. I'm going to try to do some short films later this year. But this podcast right now is taking a lot of my time because I love doing it. And I think it's really fun just sitting down and doing it. And I think podcasts also gives me like an outlet to show off my creativity and my randomness. If you've seen the other 5 episodes, I've kind of always done some like random thing. Like I made Frankie introduce me. I made I pranked Emily by showing her. I mean, I wore a rave outfit, so that was pretty funny. With Easy, I made him like think that we were gonna dress nice, which I'm finally dressing nice, which is so random. So I don't know why I put on this suit, but yeah, dude, I just want to do that. I want to just express myself, and I just want to do this podcast, show who I really am, try to loosen up more. I've talked to friends. I've talked to my wife, Marley, for sure. And like, she's like, why are you so stiff, like on camera? I'm like, well, I just like being like, I used to work at the TV station. I used to work in news. So like, I was like, I feel like I brought that into who I am, but I know I should be more loosey goosey and say what I want and like not wear a tie. And like, I'm wearing a tie because I just thought it was funny for myself, and I'm wearing something nice. But yeah, I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why I started this podcast. I know I'm all over the place. Literally, I just said I'm going to sit down this time and just talk to you guys. So if you guys do already listen to me, thank you very much. Don't forget to share it, like it, tell your friends about it. On Apple Podcasts, thank you to the people who have left like reviews and who have 5-starred it. On Spotify, I don't push Spotify as much as I should, but thank you very much to the people who have. I can't thank you enough. It's really cool to see like, hey, 30 people saw your podcast. Hey, 20 people saw your podcast. I just think it's interesting to know that 20 people have sat down or have driven or have like just been there listening to my stupid jokes, listening to me make some dumb comments about people like Emily last time when she was talking about women and how being a woman in DJ company is weird. And I'm like, because it's more man driven. And I'm like, as it should be, right, guys? It's just so random and it's just so funny. Like, it's just me, So thank you very much, everyone. And if you really like this podcast, just let me know. It's always nice to hear positive feedback. And if you don't like it, let me know too, because I've had one hate comment and it was pretty funny. I was like, that means someone watched this podcast or didn't watch this podcast and then just went on and was like, hey, who are these unfunny fucks? And then they commented. So I was like, hey, thanks for your time, man. I know. But I hope everyone does like it, and I hope you like the future guests I have planned. I have a whole list on my Apple Notes and of people I want to come on this podcast. So I hope that I'm able to bring on more podcasts and more podcasters, more actors, more directors, everyone I can, actually. Anyone I find interesting. And that's one of the biggest things. I'm going to bring people that I find interesting, people that I want to talk to, and people that I really want to get to know on a better basis. I'm going to try to keep it always just one guest, or if they want to bring someone else to make them feel more comfortable, or a reason why there's two people on at the same time, then I feel like that'll be something cool, something different. But as far as right now, I want to keep it me and the guest, I think it'd be cool to keep it like a late night talk show, because that's always been cool. And I've always loved watching like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and all those on TV. So that'd be nice to keep it that vibe, but also keep it like Eric Andre, keep it like something funny, something like random, of course, with the budget going up, with me working more. The budget might come for more guests. More jokes, more gags, just random things I can do. Like I said, that raving outfit was great because I kind of like just pulled it out of my ass. Like I do most of those gags because all of these are super random. I work best under pressure and on the fly. I'm like, oh shit, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And then bam, I just do something and it works. So that's always great. Like planning always is fun, but I think coming up with things that just happens is even funnier to me. So I guess be on the lookout for that. And if you're a guest, always keep your eyes open. I don't know what could happen. You be on the lookout around you. Be on the lookout for your seat. I might put like the airbag on your seat and you just might fly out like 10 minutes into the podcast. I don't know. I'm just warning you now. And if you didn't watch this episode, you don't know what to expect now. So it's even funnier. So I think that's what's even greater, that if people haven't seen my episodes up to now, they kind of don't know what to expect. Thankfully, the people who have been on my podcast have like kind of know what to expect now. So that kind of sucks that they're like gonna be on their toes now. I mean, I keep saying be on your toes, but I think it's gonna be funnier like if you don't watch a podcast. Like if I bring a guest and they just haven't seen anything, I think that's gonna be fucking funny because they're just gonna not know what to expect and then bam, pie to the face or something, you know? I don't know. You'll see. But also, I feel like a question I get all the time. I kind of just, like I said, we're going to get to know each other. Me as Andy, you as the audience. I want to hear from you. Tell me what you think. Tell me on the comments. But I feel like a question I get all the time is how I went to the Mission Impossible premiere in New York City. And I feel like I've never actually publicly said the whole story and said like exactly what happened, what I did. So a lot of people think that, so I don't know if you know this, if you do know this, after every podcast I've been saying it, I am that saying, stay tuned for Tom Cruise being the next guest next week. And it's just a little joke for me because I'm manifesting it and I'm trying to say like, hey, maybe Tom Cruise will come next week, you know? Maybe he'll be here. Because that'll be someone that, if he comes on this podcast, that would be badass. But, so I do like Tom Cruise a lot. I'm one of his biggest fans. I watch all his movies. I watched Top Gun Maverick yesterday just randomly because I was like, hey, it's still a great movie. And it still brings a tear to my eye every time. I think there's like 3 times that I actually tear up because it's such a good movie. Did not expect that movie to be that amazing, but it was a great movie. But anyways, which I also went to the Mission Impossible, the Top Gun premiere in San Diego, which that was awesome too. That one I actually got a ticket for, so that one has less of a story. It's just I got a ticket. I went there. I made a vlog. You can see it on my YouTube channel on Andy Canchola. So go check that one out too. But I didn't even make a vlog or anything. I even talked about it. If you know me personally, then I've talked to you about what happened and how I got there, what I did over there. But I don't think I've ever publicly came out to say what happened. So what it was a TikTok Mission Impossible collaboration. And if you made a TikTok like filter, they would pick the best one and they would send you to the Mission Impossible premiere. And it was to the closest one. So thankfully the closest one for me was in New York City. So I, of course, had to figure out how to make a TikTok filter. And yes, Effect House on TikTok made it a lot easier, but I don't know how to do like After Effects and things like that. Photoshop, cool. Adobe Premiere, which is editing software, cool. But as far as After Effects that has like more like nodes on it, like you have to really be smart. And I know a good amount of my friends actually know what they're doing and you have to do like 3D rendering and things like that. But I was like, I don't know how to do any of these things. And you can ask Marley. I was like stressing out. I was like, what am I going to do? I really need to go into this competition, man. Like, I really want to try. I really want to win. Like, I have to go. Like, this is my one opportunity to actually go to a Mission Impossible premiere in New York City. You know, I've never been to New York City. So that was just another thing that I was like, imagine if I go. So I did it. I made like a super, like, as far as I could, like, filter for TikTok, and you can go on my TikTok, it's still there. And I made one, and one of the stars of the movie, so Greg Tarzan Davis, shout out to you, he was the one that was going to be picking the filter. So I was like, dude, that's so cool. Like, I need to do this, you know? So like, I remember staying up like a couple nights being like, okay, well, let me see if I can come up with something. And then when I finally made one that like worked and it looked cool, I was like, oh my God, you have no idea. Like the stress and like, it was like a yes moment, you know? Like, it was just super happy that I was like, oh my God. I think I even woke up Marley to tell her like, babe, I did it. Oh my God, look. And she's like, huh? Like, what happened? And then I was like, I did it. I made a filter. And like, I was just super happy. Like, I could not believe that I made a filter. So that was just number one. I made the filter. And then, so I waited. People were using it, which was really cool. Random people were using it. I think it got over like 1,000 uses or something like that. And like, I was like, that's cool. Like, people are using something I did. So what the filter was which Mission Impossible character are you? So, you know, on TikTok, you click it and then you go And then it was like Tom Cruise, like Vin Rames, like all these people, all different characters from the new movie Dead Reckoning, and it picked one for you, and like it was super random, and like I'm like, this is cool, like all right, I'm happy with this, and I tried to make another one, but I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna attempt it. I hope this one wins. So I was like, cool. It was lots of fun. Like I said, those stressful nights just to try to figure out how to do a TikTok filter it was pretty crazy, but thankfully I got it done. Thankfully, I turned it in on time. It was like 2 weeks or like a week before it had to be turned in. So, it worked out. And I had to wait, I don't know, maybe like a month for them to be like, all right, we're announcing the winners on this date. So I was like, cool, let me wait. And then, so I think it was on a Sunday or Saturday. I was hanging out with my dad and my wife. We went to like a tank museum, super random, out in the middle of the desert. There's a tank museum out here in Arizona. And we were out there, and then someone messaged me like, congratulations on TikTok. And I remember reading it. I had my phone. I remember reading it. And I was like, why are they congratulating me? And then I was like, what's today? And I remember the date. I was like, there is no way this is like real. Like, why would a random person on TikTok congratulate me on a Mission Impossible post? So that's when you like kind of start like shaking. You're like, no, like there's no way. Let me wait. And then I see Effect House from TikTok message me. They're like, hey, congratulations, you're the grand winner for the Mission Impossible premiere sweepstakes or competition. I was like, there's no way. There is no way. So, of course, I had to confirm, and I went on the TikTok verified page, and I clicked on it, and I was like, oh, my God, they're verified. Okay. Maybe I'm just, because it was like a grand winner, and then there was winners, like 3 winners that were going to get like swag and like Mission Impossible stuff. So I'm like, cool. I was like, there's no way I'm like the winner, And then Marley was like, I remember it was like a movie, and I think I over exaggerated it, but I just could not believe that it actually happened. So I read the thing, and then it said like, you're the grand winner. So I read it. I'm like, there's no way. All right, I'm going to email them, and I'm going to see what's up. I'm going to see what they actually are going to say. So I emailed them the email. I'm like, hey, like, Effect House told me to message you guys, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, congratulations, you won. You're going to go to the New York premiere, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get your flight ready, your hotel and everything. We're going to, we'll message you with the details later. And I just remember my phone going, and I dropped the phone because I just could not. Sorry if you're listening to this on Apple and Spotify. I'm trying to be as detailed as possible, but I dropped the mic. But I dropped the phone when that actually happened because I could not believe it. Like I said, I think I over exaggerated it, but it was one of those things where it's like you've been wishing for something for so long, and then it happened, and then I just could not believe that I won this competition that I tried so hard to win, And I was like, me being a huge and during that time too, I was watching Mission Impossible 1 through 6 every day. Like it was like I would just find like 2-3 hours out of my day. Sometimes I would watch it in pieces like throughout the day, but I would watch it every single day leading up to this. The reason why I did that is because during during Top Gun Maverick before the premiere, like a month before, I was watching Top Gun every single day for like 30 days. So that's one of the reasons I did it. And now I was doing this for Mission Impossible just to try to get noticed. It was like something that like I've seen other people do. So I'm like, you know what? I love Top Gun and I love Mission Impossible. Let me do it for these movies. I feel like nobody's going to do it for these movies because they're not as huge of a fan as I am. And so, yeah, I got the email and we set it up. It was literally, I think I got the email Sunday. They're like, all right, you're going where your flight's on a Sunday night and you're coming back Wednesday, or was it Monday? One of those. I don't know. I forgot. Has it been a year? No, it was in December. When was the strike? Oh my God. What day are we in? I don't know. But it was like in August. July? July. It was in July. It was in July. Oh my God, dude. So it was in July because, yeah, it was really nice out there, I remember. But they told me, they're like, you're going to leave on a Monday because the premiere was on a Tuesday and I came back on Wednesday. So, yeah, I flew out Monday morning. I literally told my job, like, hey, I know you guys literally need 2 weeks for me to, like, get time off. But I just won a competition and they're sending me, Paramount Pictures is sending me to the Mission Impossible premiere in New York City. Even my boss, shout out Cora, she was super happy for me, which was, it was awesome. Like, my bosses were happy. Like, they were like, dude, like, that's so cool. Like, congratulations. I was like, thank you, man. Like, thank you. I couldn't even believe it. I didn't want to tell anybody yet. Of course, my dad and my wife were there with me, but I didn't want to tell anybody yet. But yeah, once I like officially got the confirmation, like emails, like it was like, oh my God, this is real. So, fast forward to Monday. The Monday I was supposed to leave, my flight was like at 6 a.m. It was from Phoenix to New York. So, well, Yuma to Phoenix, Phoenix to New York. Paramount Pictures actually sent a driver to my house to pick me up. And I have video. I'll put like little videos and snippets of things I have. So it was like a Lincoln Navigator, I think the very first one. They picked me up at my house, took me to the airport, and was like, all right, thank you very much. And if you know Yuma, we don't have a driving service like that around here. So I talked to the guy. Like I said, I love talking to people. And they said that they literally drove 3 hours for them to take me like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And he's like, this is the longest, shortest day ever, which is really funny. Like, shout out to them because they were awesome. But yeah, so Paramount Pictures, actually, I've never had a driver pick me up, you know? So they picked me up from my house to the airport. I flew from Yuma to Phoenix, Phoenix to New York. Once I got to New York, there was a guy. It was just, like I said, I have more vlog footage because I actually took vlog footage. I just never released it. So as I get there, like in the movies, I felt like Pretty Woman, like Julia Roberts, they were like making me fall in love with them, Paramount Pictures, because there was a guy with an iPad that said Andy Canchola. Like, you know, in the movies, I don't fly a lot, but I've always seen in the movies where someone has a sign out there like looking for Andy Canchola. And this guy, I think his name was Gerardo. Cool guy. He picked me up at JFK Airport, and then he was like, all right, well, we're going to take you to your airport. To your hotel. I was like, dude, this is so sick. I felt it was like a movie. Like, literally, when I say it was like a movie, it was like a movie. So he got my bag. I was like, no, it's cool. Like, no, I got it. I was like, oh my God, stop. You know, I'm not used to like this fancy schmancy like service. I was like, I got my bag. But he's like, no, like, I got it, my guy. He didn't say my guy, but he was like, I got it. And then so he took it to his car. He brought, I think it was an Escalade. He brought it up. We got in the car. They always had waters in there. It's kind of like an Uber, but more it's like Uber Black, you know? And then we got in. He took me. It was the Thompson Hotel in Central Park, like 2 blocks away from Central Park. The reason why they put me in such a nice hotel, it was a really nice hotel, by the way, but it was like a mile away from where the premiere was going to be. So they were like, all right, well, you just have to be there at 5 p.m. for the premiere. And like I was on Tuesday afternoon. I was like, cool, I could do that. You know, it's just me by myself. And that's what sucked. One of the things that did suck that I wish I could have done was take my wife with me, because I was by myself in New York City, you know. It was cool because I was like, I'm in New York City for the Mission Impossible premiere, but it kind of sucked because I was by myself. But, you know, still really grateful that I went. But so I explored very little. I mean, like I was by myself, like I said. I got there Sunday night because I flew all day from Arizona. And I got pizza. First thing I did was get pizza. I'm like, I have to get pizza. And then, so during that time, sorry, I'm all over the place, but during that time, I was also doing like a weight loss competition. So I had worked out, and I remember thinking to myself, thankfully, because of that, like I had lost a good amount of weight at that time. I said, thankfully, because of that, I was able to buy like a nice suit. I was able to look nice. Like I got it like tailored for me. Like I was that excited, you know, I got a whole suit. And I think my confidence was like a little higher too. Like I was like, I'm looking good, I'm feeling good. Like I was still fat, but I was feeling good, And then I was like, thankfully, because of all that working out that we did, we were going to the gym, we were going hard. I felt good. And like, I was like, dude, this is so fucking cool. Like, I'm here now. So I was in New York and I had pizza, of course, ruined my diet. But I was like, I have to have New York style pizza, It was great. I think I went to Ray's Pizza. And if you know New York City or you're from the East, Ray's is pretty good. I didn't really go to any other place because, like I said, I was walking everywhere mostly. And I went to Times Square Tuesday morning. So that was pretty cool. A lot of crazy people out there. Really packed. So this is me coming from Yuma, Arizona, like a super small city. If you don't know where Yuma's at, go look it up right now. It's literally in between California and Arizona, like right in the middle, 15, 20 minutes away from Mexico. Like small town boy being in a lonely world. No, small town boy being in this fucking big ass city, like you fly into and it's like millions of people. I think Yuma's population is like 100K, if that. Like it was wild. It was wild to me. But yeah. So anyways, before I keep rambling on, New York was fun. New York was cool. I went to a spy museum because I saw that the cast was there the night before because they had a big like Mission Impossible like party at the spy museum. I'm like, that's badass. I didn't even know there was a spy museum. So if you didn't know this about me, because of Mission Impossible and because of all the Tom Cruise movies, I wanted to be a spy when I was younger, because I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. You could be somebody else. You wear masks. You don't really wear masks in real life as far as I know, But yeah, so I went to the spy museum. I was super interested and it was really fun. You just do a lot of puzzles. You learn the history of spies, like why they started becoming spies or what happened, what really made spies. So anyways, so fast forward, we went to that museum. I was by myself. Then I was walking all over the place, by the way, because something I've learned in big cities is that you walk everywhere. The guys even told me that, like, try not to get an Uber. They're like, you'll take longer to go a mile than walking the mile. So, I was like, cool, I'm just going to walk. And then like even by my hotel there was like a farmer's market at Friday night. Like that was pretty cool. Like it's just always packed. There's just always something to do in a bigger city. That's why I always said I would love to live in a bigger city because there's always something to do. There's always events, there's always something happening. Anyways, so come Tuesday afternoon, I think I had way higher hopes for it in the way that I'm like, I won this competition, maybe I'll meet the stars, maybe I'll meet more people. So but they're like, no, unfortunately, you're just going to be, I wasn't even on the red carpet. So they're like, no, unfortunately, you're just going to be here. You're going to watch the movie and then like, that's it. But I was still, of course, super grateful. I'm not saying I'm not grateful because I was super grateful that they even flew me out there. They had drivers for me, the nice ass hotel, everything. I was super grateful about everything. But I'm like, really? I couldn't go on the red carpet? I thought that's what it was going to be too. So that's why I kind of went dressing up nicer because I was like, well, I'm going to be on the red carpet. I don't know who I'm going to see. I don't know who like I'm going to get an autograph from. Maybe I'll finally meet the man himself, like Tom Cruise. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. A lot of people asked me, they're like, did you meet Tom Cruise? Did you meet Tom Cruise? I'm like, no, fortunately, I didn't. I saw him. That's the third time I've seen him in person now. But I unfortunately did not meet him. So maybe one day. But I did see them, like I said, from up top. So it was like at a 2-story building. So the red carpet was like on the first floor, and then I was up top at the second floor, and I was just looking down. And like I took videos. I'll show you here. Like there was videos of them. They were just walking. They were doing like a press. So if you've been to a red carpet, they always have like the fans, of course, but then there's always like somewhere where all the press stands. And I just learned this because of the Top Gun one too. They have like a line of just press that they have to come talk to. So one star goes here, and then once they're done with their 5 minutes, they go to the next one. Then they talk to this person. They have their questions, and then they go. And it's like 10 to 20 people. So shout out to all these actors and like people who have to go through that, because talking for 5 minutes per like person per press, and then coming up with the same questions over and over and answers over and over. I just thought, I'm like, respect to you guys, because that's pretty cool. But I saw Tom Cruise, and I'm wild. So Greg, shout out Greg Tarzan Davis. I saw him And I was like, I wonder if he remembers me from the interview, because I got to interview him last year for Top Gun Maverick, or 2 years ago now for Top Gun Maverick. So I was like, oh, sorry. And if you don't know, he also recognized me at Top Gun Maverick because I watched Top Gun every single day. So he had recognized me. So he had already knew me from Top Gun. And then we talked actually at the Top Gun Maverick premiere with his publicist. We talked a little and we got to know each other. Super respectful guy, because like I respect him so much, and he gained a longtime fan because he actually took the time out of like the Top Gun Maverick premiere to come talk to me. We're just talking like, hey man, what's up, man? So what are you up to? Like, what do you like? And things like that. Like, he actually tried to get to know me. I was like, dude, that's badass. Like, you're in this it was the biggest movie of the year, Top Gun Maverick. And you're here talking to me like this random like kid, like guy. I'm not even a kid anymore. This random guy, like, I was like, that. Thank you, dude. That's so badass. So long. I'll always be a fan of yours. So shout out to you. But so I was like, I wonder if he still remembers me. You know, it's been like a year since Top Gun. Like, let me see. So he was down there, and I'm like, Greg. And then like he looked up, and I'm like, and he's like. And then he like, oh, sorry, Spotify or Apple listeners, he gave me that face like, what? Like, what are you doing here? Like, Andy? Like, he was like, oh, what's up? And then he said, like, just a minute. Like, you know, he was busy. He was taking pictures of people. So I was like, oh my God, like, he remembers me. And he was like excited to see me. You know, I was like, dude, that's so badass. Like, you know, like that feeling, like, it's unbelievable. Like a literal unbelievable feeling. I'm gonna drink water. But so yeah, we watched the movie, and I was placed on the second story of the movie. It was badass just to watch the movie. All the stars came out. They made a presentation like thanking everybody for being there, saying how much work they put into it, because it was during COVID that they filmed the movie. So it was really cool just to see them like talking about it and talk about everything that they went through, how much love they put into this film. So amazing. So those are memories I'm never gonna forget. I'll probably forget names, but I sat next to a male model that was invited there as well, and he's like, I was actually on the red carpet. He's like, I just talked to all the stars. He's like, I talked to Tom Cruise, and he was like, really nice guy, really humble guy. And he was like, when he talks to you, he's so intense. I guess like when he talks to you, like looks at you directly in the eyes, and he doesn't break eye contact, and he's like actually listening and like cares about what you have to say. And I'm like, dude, that's like so great to hear, man. Especially like already being there at the premiere, like just to hear that your heroes, one of your favorite fucking heroes, is like a good person as far as to his fans or to people that he talks to. Like, that was just great to hear. So he showed me some videos, some pictures of him. I'm like almost crying, because I'm like, dude, that's so badass. Like, I wish that was me. All jealous. But no, I'm like super happy for him. So anyways, we watched the movie, and you know, me being like a little sneaky, I was like, wait, they're all going through the same doors. Like, all the stars and everything are going through the same doors we're going through. If I hurry up, the stars are kind of getting delayed. If I hurry up, I can go downstairs, go to the bathroom down there, and when they come out, I can come out. So that was my thought process, to be like, oh my God, this is the way I can run into like Tom, or run into somebody I know, you know? So I did that. I went downstairs, I went to the bathroom, and like I just hid in there. There was a couple people that I knew, they were like producers and like people that I might have known, but I don't know their names specifically. And I peed really quick, and then I walked out, and I'm like, oh my God, there's Tom Cruise's son, Connor. And like, I was like, oh my God, my dumbass, I hesitated to go up to him, and I'm like, and like, I was like, oh, maybe I should. And when I hesitated to like, oh my God, should I go up to him? And I like went up, but I stood back. He got a call, and I'm pretty sure he's like, hey Dad. I'm like, but I think he got a call from his dad, and then he left. I was like, no, God damn it. That was my chance. That was like the second closest I could have gotten to Tom, you know? But I mean, I've been within 5 feet of him at the Top Gun Maverick premiere, but never like his son, you know? Like, I could have asked him for a picture, and I could have asked him, hey, I'm a huge fan of your dad. Like, that's cool, man. Congrats. He's your dad. But I hesitated, and that's what I get. So when you see something, you got to just go for it. Something I've learned from that experience. But I walked a little bit more, and all the cast was there. Like, they were all kind of just like spread apart. And then I run into Greg Tarzan Davis, and he's like, Andy, my boy, like, what's up, man? Then he dabs me up, gives me a hug. I'm like, dude, you remember me? Like I didn't say that, but I was like in my head, you know? And he's like, what's up, man? He's like, what are you doing here? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm from Arizona, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, I remember. And like, we just had like a quick conversation, but I know he was busy. I mean, he's one of the stars of the movie, so you know he's going to be busy. And he was like, dude, that's so cool. He's like, I'm like, well, you know that TikTok competition? He's like, I'm the one that made that filter that you picked. He's like, what? He's like, that's insane. He's like, I didn't see the names or anything. I just picked the one that looked the coolest, the TikTok filter. I'm like, what, bro? Like, you know, the cockiness or the person in me was like, maybe he picked it because he knew who I am, you know? But he's like, no, dude. He's like, I just picked it because it looked cool and I liked it. I was like, bro, like, you know, your heart just gets like filled with happiness. I was like, dude, that's meant to be. And it got me so happy. I was like, that's so amazing, dude. Like, he was like, dude, thank you. I'm like, hey, can we take a picture before you go? He's like, of course, bro. And then we took a picture. I'll put it up right here. And then he's like, here, let me take a picture of my phone. I was like, what? And then he took his phone out. He took a picture with me. I was like, dude, like, thanks, man. Hey, man, thank you very much. Like, you're a badass fucking actor. You're a badass person. Like, thank you for being you. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, and then he introduced me to his new publicist. And then he was like, hey, this is the guy that won the TikTok competition. And then, you know, we just talked there. I'm like, dude, that's so cool. And anyway, so they were kicking everybody out, but I was kind of like stepping back, and they kind of saw I was with the actors. So I was like, yeah, I'm important, my guy, to the security, but not really. They kind of knew I was just like a fan. And so he also introduced me to Danny Ramirez. Danny Ramirez was there. I guess he lives out there in New York, but he was just there for the premiere. But he was in Top Gun Maverick too. So I took a picture with him at Top Gun Maverick premiere, but he actually talked to me here. And then he's like, hey, man, like, this guy, Greg introduced me. He's like, this guy was like he's like, wait, I know you. And then I was like, what? And then he's like, yeah, dude, you're the guy that, and then Greg's like, yeah, he watched Top Gun Maverick every day. He's like, yeah, bro. Oh my God. He's like, dude. And then I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, fuck. Wait, hold on. I think the camera stopped recording. Sorry. Technical difficulties. So where was I? Yeah. So Danny was like, Danny Ramirez was like, where do I know you from? And then he's like, oh yeah, you're the one that watched like Mission Impossible every day. I'm like, what, bro? Like, you know who I am? And then I'm like, it was just a crazy moment. I really could not believe that another guy like recognized me. You know, I make like little videos on YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff, and he recognized me. And then he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, we used to have we have a group chat, and we used to send your videos like amongst each other because all of us were like inspired. We're like, dude, people are excited for this movie. People like are like, there's genuine fans to Top Gun, and people really want to see these movies. And like, I was like, bro, what did you just say? Like, I could not believe that they recognized me, for one, and that he says that I was inspiring their cast, whether it's a lie or not, whatever. That's what he told me. Like, I'm going to live off of that. Like, my heart's fucking complete. Like, I felt like crying like the whole time, but I'm a man, so I don't cry. You know what I mean? But it was just an amazing feeling, like, for them to say that, and for two people now to say that. So shout out to both of them. That was my experience. I remember just like walking back to my hotel with like the biggest smile on my face because I really couldn't believe it. Oh yeah, and like I said, I was kind of getting delayed. So as we were just there, I was trying to find a elevator to go back down, and then I go down. I find this elevator, and it's this older lady and then her like granddaughter, I guess. We all went down this elevator, and I'm like, oh, like, are you guys here for the premiere? They're like, yeah, it was a good movie. What'd you think? Blah, blah, blah. We talked a little bit. I'm like, oh, cool. And as I'm waiting there, we go down. Jesse Metcalf, I think, the guy from John Tucker Must Die. I took a picture with him. Shout out to that guy. He was cool too. I didn't really talk to him, but took a picture. And then out comes Isai Morales, which, if you know La Bamba, he's Bob. He's it's George Lopez's dad in George Lopez, but he's also the bad guy in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. And if you know Deathstroke, he's also Deathstroke in the Titan show. Yeah, Titan show. So he's done a good amount of things and things that I've loved and I've seen him in. And then he comes out. And then, like, he's talking to this older lady that I was in with the elevator. And she's like, I'm John Leguizamo's cousin. And he's like, what, Johnny? He's like, yeah. Like, he's like, oh, I love Johnny. He's like, he's such a good guy. Blah, blah. He's like, yeah, that's my cousin. He gave us his tickets for. I was like, oh, my God, I was with John Leguizamo. And if you don't know who John Leguizamo is, he's a pretty famous actor, too. He's like, I'm with John Leguizamo's cousin in this elevator. But they talked for a little, and then I'm like, would you guys like me to take pictures? They're like, yes, please. And then so I took a picture of them, and then I'm like, hey, Isai, can I get a picture? I'm like, he's like, yeah, of course. Super nice guy, you know? So we took a picture, and then I'm like, hey, man, great job in this movie. You're such a great villain. Like, great job. He's like, I can't wait to see what you guys do next, and I can't wait to see where you go from here. And then he's like, thank you. And then there's a picture of us, like, shaking hands and everything. So that was a cool experience. But like I said, I was on my way to the hotel. I really couldn't believe it. That's probably still one of the best nights of my life. Like, something I will never forget, something I'll tell my kids, something I'll, like, cherish for the rest of my life, because that was unforgettable moment. So don't forget, if you have the opportunity to do things you want to do, just do them, because that's something I've learned. If you have to learn how to do things, like, just do it. Like, learn from it and do what you have to do to get where you want to be, and don't stop being consistent and just follow your dreams. Because, like, legit, I know it's such a small dream for that, but I accomplished a dream, you know? I accomplished the dream of me doing that. So, yeah. I'm going to take a little break. I'll be right back. Damn, I didn't think I was going to fill up more than like 30 minutes of me talking. I'm sorry. I was rambling. I was supposed to, like, show you who I am, and I guess you really saw who I am because I was so passionate about that story. But yeah, thank you. If you're still listening to this podcast, thank you very much. I'm glad you're here still, and thank you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I can't say that enough. And thank you to those who have liked and subscribed my page on Facebook, on Instagram, and thank you guys. Thank you very much. It's really appreciative. That's what keeps, like, me planning more episodes and me planning more things, because of people like you guys, that you guys are actually caring about the funny stories, or maybe you just care about the people I'm interviewing. But still, thank you, because I really appreciate it. Their stories should be heard, and their stories should be able to be told by everybody, or be able to be told so everybody can listen to it. So thank you very much. And yeah, so I got a couple questions, and I have them off the top of my head because I'm recording on my phone. So one question was, which is funny, this one's from Mermaid Marley. She said, what happened to your trip in New York City? And I don't think you ever talked about it. So now I did. So there you go. You got a whole video, Marley, to say exactly what happened over there in New York City for the Mission Impossible premiere. The next one is from Michael Navarrete. Shout out to you. You were a guest on my podcast. And you said, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? And honestly, yes. Something that a lot of people don't realize is that when you fall, your wings fall off. So you just hit the ground as hard as you can. And you know what? It really hurts. It's just hard to be so perfect and so funny, so good looking. And now with this weight loss competition that I'm completely winning, it's hard, you know? I don't want to lose as much weight as I can, because I can't be sexy, funny, and good looking, and like I just can't do that, you know? Like, it's just so much for the world. And yeah, so it did hurt a lot falling from heaven. Next one is from Kayla Bozenke. She says, who is your dream podcast guest, dead or alive? So I'm gonna answer you in two parts, actually. I'm gonna say a person that passed away and a person that's alive. So, because I feel like everybody knows who the one that's alive is, because, you know, I've been talking about him the whole time. But a person that was dead, some person that passed away that I would love to have on. You know what? I think it would still be Michael Jackson. I've always been a huge Michael Jackson fan, and I just think that would be a really interesting conversation to see. Just to see what he's been through. I mean, we've all seen the movies, we've all heard his music, so I just think it would be a really interesting podcast, and I wonder if he would do podcasts if he was alive still to this day. He's still one of the persons that made me, inspire me to want to learn how to dance, and so that's probably a person, super random, that I would love to. If not Martin Luther King Jr. was, I mean, that's really interesting, but I think he would be a really cool podcast. Tell me what he was thinking, what he was planning on doing further. I think those two people. Alive, so I'm gonna go with Tom Cruise, of course. I would love to have Tom Cruise on this podcast. I think it would be really interesting to just talk to him. I wonder how much he would open up to me. I mean, I would ask him like the hard-hitting questions if I could. No, I don't know. But I think I would just talk to him. Maybe I couldn't even talk. Maybe I would just be in awe that I'm even like in the same vicinity as him. So yeah, there you go. And then Ryan Reynolds, because it's Ryan Reynolds. I think that would just be fucking badass to have Ryan Reynolds on this podcast. He would be funny as hell. And then the last one, I had a question that I remember off the top of my head, was why is Hernan the most sus member of the Los Compas podcast? You know what, dude? I think the reason why he's the most sus member of Los Compas is because he's getting married. And I think once you're about to get married, you just start acting sus because you just start thinking about, wait, this is going to be the last time like I can be sus with the homies, you know, before I really get married, before I really commit to my wife. So I'm trying to be so serious, but that's the reason why he's so sus with you guys, because, it's his last hurrah before he gets married. I don't know when he's getting married exactly, but maybe that's why. So I hope that answers all your questions. Thank you very much to you guys. I know I kind of posted it late, but thank you to you guys who sent me a question, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you person who has listened to it this far. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please leave a rating on Apple and Spotify if you like this podcast. There's a guest next week that I think is going to be really cool, or in 2 weeks. Oh, yeah, so I'm doing it bi-weekly. If you haven't realized, I'm doing my podcast bi-weekly because it's a lot easier right now for me to do it bi-weekly because of the traveling. But I will do it bi-weekly. Even if it's just a podcast with me by myself, or I bring random friends on, I will do it bi-weekly, so be on the lookout for that. I'm posting all the reels, all the TikToks, almost like 2 a week, so be on the lookout for that. So appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go like my Instagram. Go like my Facebook. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for Tom Cruise to be next week's guest. Thank you very much, everybody.